Welcome back to the Terry and Jesse Show. Father Frank Pavone joining us. Jesse's out of town. And we've been discussing the President Trump statement on abortion on Monday. And man, the internet's been talking about it. And I think Father Frank's statement was very clear. We have two choices. We know what each president has done for the past 4 years, Biden and Trump the 4 years before. The track record isn't speculative. We know what he's going to do because of what they both have done. So I want to bring Bishop Strickland into the picture and let him give his take on how you should be voting, really, as a Catholic with an informed conscience. So let's play that clip.
Well, I totally agree with what you just said, Terry. And I did watch Frank Pavone and his statement.
Yeah.
I agree with what he said. I think certainly we live in a very imperfect world. I mean, that goes without saying. And this election offers us very imperfect choices.
Of course.
I lament that there isn't a stronger voice saying, what we say and what we know. But that's just not what we have. And that strong a voice, if one of the candidates had that strong a voice, it's likely they couldn't get elected anyway.
Right.
And so I think and it's something that we have to, it's not easy. And it's something that I think we have to really think through. As Catholics, I think we simply have to acknowledge that we don't have a candidate who truly represents Catholic faith.
That's right.
He can say he does all he wants, but President Biden pretends to, but he doesn't.
Nope.
At least President Trump doesn't pretend to be Catholic. He doesn't claim to be Catholic.
No.
So I think as Catholics, we just acknowledge that we don't have a candidate that really clearly represents our Catholic values. So acknowledging that, then what do? We look for the one that does the best.
That's right.
That represents those values the best.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's also important, because sometimes even within the Catholic world, especially when it comes to Catholicism and politics, it's like, it's almost like we're told, and many seem to have the attitude that, we just have to settle for X. We settle for the best we can get. Mm-hmm. I guess what I would say is we can't vote for Biden. No. I'm not going to.
No, they couldn't get me to. No.
I'll say that. I will not vote for Biden. He's a terrible Catholic, but to me, he's a terrible president.
Yeah. I just wanted to ask you, how can we, as Catholics, better educate our own flock? I mean, I'm not talking about even non-Catholics. I mean, just how can we get, I know you have resources for parishes with their homilies for the priests, things like that, but how do we get our own flock to get on board? Because statistically, and I know your newsletter said just recently, new poll reveals American voters care about culture of life and pro-life values ahead of the 2024 presidential election. But I think I've seen also statistics showing that Catholics pretty much vote with the secular values, and that's the tragedy. And how do we get more Catholics to be in line with what Catholic moral teachings are so that we can actually get a pro-life president who will actually move the football closer to a first down?
Well, a lot of my answer to that question is at our political website, prolifevote.com. And like you said, we have resources for preaching. Yeah. A lot of it is to come from a renewal in the pulpit. Mm-hmm. Here's the problem. It's a very big problem. Okay. We, in our Priests for Life ministry, I've been leading for the last 30 years, have always worked to encourage the clergy to speak more on this. And we've always been asked by the laity, why don't they do so? Mm-hmm. Now, in my book, Proclaiming the Message of Life, I identify a couple of dozen reasons why clergy tend to be silent on the issue. But there's one reason above all, and it's the saddest of all. literally the answer to why a lot of priests don't speak out about this, both in terms of abortion and in terms of voting. Terry, the answer is this.
Yeah, tell me.
They've been told not to.
Wow. Wow.
They've been told not to by bishops who send out, and I have them right here in my files. They send out letters saying, like, let me quote one of them. It said, "We must not preach anything that will anger or divide God's people."
Wow. Wow.
Now, this is a priest getting a letter from essentially his boss, right? Oh, okay. Well, then I'm not if I talk about abortion, of course, that's going to make some people angry. Yeah, it's going to divide people. If to talk about the election is going to make them even more angry and divide them even more, I guess I'm not supposed to do that. And they keep their mouths shut because the bishop put tape over it. And this is like, enough is enough. People have got to understand that this is what is happening. They are getting these letters. I call it out in my other book, Abolishing Abortion, the book that talks about this Johnson Amendment and how the church actually, and when we say the church, we know we're the church. I'm talking about the institutional diocesan structures, right? They take a bad problem and they make it worse. And I outline this with many examples in my book, Abolishing Abortion, where this is part of the problem. And this is a problem that needs to be solved. Now, a church is not going to get in trouble for preaching about the elections. They're just not.
No.
And we've learned that from experience. A lot of people still believe the opposite. And it's just the fact that we can say and do a whole lot more than we think we can. So this is part of the issue. But ultimately, different groups and ministries in the church need to be supported. I know we have a very supportive audience here. They support what you're doing in Virgin Most Powerful Radio. They support what we're doing, Priests for Life. And friends, I want to say to all of those that are listening, this is the way we have to go. I mean, we believe in the way that Jesus has structured the church, but we also believe that the Holy Spirit raises up different ministries in the church to respond to the needs of the times. Not just religious orders, but ministries like Virgin Most Powerful, like Priests for Life.
Sure.
This is a big path to the solution. If we can support these ministries and we can be active, we have basically, what we're talking about is we have believers helping other believers along the path that we know our faith lays out for us. We need that encouragement, and that's why we have to keep building up these ministries.
Father Frank, you mentioned that the bishops told the priest to be quiet. I have to have a confession. I was on a national radio network across America with Jesse Romero and several of our Orthodox friends, and we were told that you need to knock off with your rhetoric on some of the issues of pro-life and other issues that were dividing people.
There you go.
And
Same
that,
thing.
Yes, they don't need you because you guys, they call us the cowboys out west, Catholic cowboys out west, Jesse and Terry. And so we ended up within a week starting our own Virgin Most Powerful Radio because we had our own app already built. And I knew it was coming because we were constantly being hit on the hand saying, hey, knock it off, knock it off. We couldn't knock it off, so we got fired. So in a sense, that was a good because now we really have our own network, and the radio stations that pick us up are ones who believe in not compromising and not, knocking it down a level to make it more palatable to people. So let's just get something clear. Yeah.
They're the ones that let you and Jesse go.
That's right. That's right.
So that then obviously you got to keep on speaking. So you create your own platform.
We did. Yeah.
They're the ones that push you out, and they're saying you're the ones that are causing division.
Not only
isn't what they just did by definition division.
Not only, yes, of course, Father, that's logic. Of course it is. But, one thing that they have made clear just in this, because I get people who listen to both networks, and they just said, one of their big national radio hosts who I'm friends with said you can't vote for President Trump or for Biden in this year's election. That's tragic. That's wrong. I'm sorry, but that just made me like, really? Why? Who's giving you this order? Walk away from that because that's evil. And I'll tell you why it's evil. If you don't take your right as a confirmed Catholic to vote in the election, this is my take, and correct me right on the air, Father Frank, correct me, that I think it's sinful for not voting when you know what's right and you don't do what's right. Am I onto something?
Well, the Catechism, the Second Vatican
All
Council,
of it.
they make it clear.
Yeah.
Voting is a duty. It's a
Yeah.
duty, not just a right or a privilege.
Yeah.
It's a responsibility. Yeah, I mean, that's unbelievable. You know, they say something like that.
Yeah.
It's as if a vote is a canonization. I mean, if what voting meant, let's take what that person
Yeah.
just said.
Yeah.
If voting meant I am making a declaration
Yeah.
that everything this person says and does, I agree with, and it is conformable to Catholic doctrine.
Yeah.
If that's what my vote means, then that statement is correct.
Mm-hmm.
You can't vote for either one of them.
Right.
Or is my vote something different? Is my vote a transfer of power for the governance of the country? Because one or another of these men will
Can't be
be
both. Yeah, that's right.
president.
That's right.
One is going to be president. So I'm trying to determine which it's going to be.
Yeah.
I'm not declaring who's the perfect one. 'cause there is
Exactly.
no perfect.
Last time I looked, the Blessed Mother and Jesus Christ aren't running to be the President of the United States. We have imperfect men running, and that's just how it is in life.